Good. This whole fraud continues to just, it's decomposing. It's disintegrating. It's falling apart. Johns Hopkins University, which has been at the forefront of creating many of the coronavirus or COVID death figures, has now announced in a new report that there is no evidence that COVID-19 created any excess deaths in 2020. Do you hear that? No evidence that COVID-19 created any excess deaths in 2020. Now, what worries me about that is, and I've said it before a long time ago, that there are supposedly going to be two of these, not a second wave, but we all know that they have on the shelf any number of designer freeze-dried viruses, bacteria, all manner of pathogens that they can release at any time. More bioweapons, and they can do that, and they can let something loose that has a higher and more horrible death rate than this fake does. It's a bad flu season, statistically. That's what it is. Now, if they do release something else, things will get, again, to the level of a constant diet of fear porn being fed to the American people and the world people, the world population. Here it is again. Johns Hopkins University. Let's see. According to new data, the U.S. currently ranks first in total COVID-19 cases, new cases per day, and deaths. This is from Genevieve Briand, Assistant Program Director of the Applied Economics Master's Degree Program at Johns Hopkins. She critically analyzed the effect of COVID-19 on U.S. deaths using data from the CDC and so forth. In her webinar titled COVID-19 Deaths, a Look at U.S. Data, it's all laid out. From mid-March to mid-September, U.S. total deaths have reached 1.7 million, of which 200,000 or 12% of total deaths are COVID-19 related. Instead of looking directly at the COVID-19 deaths, Briand focused on the total deaths per age group and per cause of death in the U.S. and used the information to shed light on the effects of COVID-19. She explained that the significance of COVID-19 on the U.S. deaths can be fully understood only through comparison to the number of total deaths in the country. After retrieving data on the CDC website, Briand compiled a graph representing percentages of total deaths per age category from early February to early September, which includes the period from before COVID-19 was detected in the U.S. to after infection rates soared. Surprisingly, the deaths of older people stayed the same before and after COVID-19. Since COVID-19 mainly affects the elderly, experts expected an increase in the percentage of deaths in older age groups. However, this increase is not seen from the CDC data. In fact, the percentages of deaths among all age groups remain relatively the same. Story will go up a little later at Rense.com. This again concerns me that they will release something that is worse to get the results they want, if they don't get them now. You go outside and you look at people wearing masks in their cars, jogging for God's sakes, sitting down here and there out in the middle of fresh air. This is insane. Dean Henderson, who is certainly not insane, is back with us tonight. Hello, Dean. How's everything in South Dakota?
Well, good, Jeff. But I wouldn't go that far.
Well,
yeah, it's good. We went on a big hike today. Went up Bear Butte, so
good.
Powerful place, and
they're going to rename it Mask Butte pretty soon.
they'll probably try. But yeah, we didn't see any masks there. There was some other hikers, and didn't see too bad. Didn't seem too bad. Sturgis still in the grocery store. But
I don't know. South Dakota is.
No, go ahead.
South Dakota is leading the way to reminding Americans that they are free people, and that governor of yours is terrific. I am just sickened by all of this, as many of you listening are. And for those of you who are listening, welcome. Maybe you're new. We don't buy into brainwashing and social programming and engineering and all that. We like to think for ourselves and look at the data. And the report I read from is from Johns Hopkins University. One of the worst things you can do is to get into an argument with anybody who is on the other side of the fence. Leave them alone to their thoughts. I wish them well. Good luck. Believe what you want. We still have that right to believe what we want and to make our own decisions and our own analyses. And I hope a lot of you are doing that on a relatively constant basis. You can update things as more information comes out. That's what it's about. Meanwhile, L.A. County has issued a safer, here you go, Dean, a safer at home order that begins November 30th, right? Officials warned that additional measures could be imposed if the new safer at home doesn't work well enough. And let me read a little of this. This is interesting to watch how they write this stuff. This is from Fox. The order goes into effect Monday and will run through December 20th as cases of COVID-19, this is Fox, swell to disturbing levels. Officials warned that additional measures would be imposed if the county's 5-day threshold of new cases exceeds 4,500 or if hospitalizations reach more than 2,000. More than 2,000 in the whole county? Currently, 1,893 people remain hospitalized in the county. In the county. It's a bad cold. And people, if they start sneezing and get a sore throat, they run to the goddamn hospital.
But Jeff,
anyway.
Online shopping is up, and that's what matters. And
there you go.
The record Black Friday online sales. Come on. Who cares if people die?
They expected it, yeah. That's right. They expected it, too. I didn't know it did. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's just so insane. It is insane, and it's just, yeah, you just try to avoid it, try to ignore it. It's hard to do, especially the more urban you are, the more you have to just see that carnage of people just being obedient and obeying and then getting all sanctimonious about it, and then all of a sudden they're health experts, and then, yeah, just abridging your rights, and we're not going around telling them, don't wear a mask, you're evil. I never would think of doing that. But they just feel they have the right, and this is, it's just all by design, and it's all isolation and separation, and yeah, John Hopkins, there you go. That's right out of the horse's mouth, right? And they're just saying that there's no statistical difference between the deaths this year, last year, and because of COVID. But who's going to run that story? Think that'll be on CNN?
Well, no.
John Hopkins every day, like 10 times a day. But that probably just will get tucked away, and because it doesn't serve the agenda.
I'll run the dickens out of it. We'll get it out there. They watch. Yeah. They look. I'm not bragging in any way, shape, or form, but they all watch this site to see how much we know. That's one of the reasons it's still up.
They do. Yeah, they keep an eye on. I definitely sometimes wonder, sometimes who's reading my books? I do
That's right. Plus
once
they,
in a while, and it usually goes away.
Yeah.
And then, but yeah,
they also look at the stories, and since the site basically basically presents mainstream media news stories, carefully selected, to paint reality as best we can. What? They can't bitch. Nothing they can do.
No. Facts,
it's their own
whatever,
stuff. Yeah.
It's their own stuff, and that's the whole thing. And so, no, so that's, the whole scam's falling apart, and yet at the same time, it just seems like, I don't know, there's more and more maskers, and there's more and more people that want to run stuff and run you and tell you what to do, and it just gets old. It's so un-American, and it's just so un-American. I mean, and so rude. It's just what a rude thing to do. I'll be that kind of person, you know. You just push your weight around, and you have a little badge now. It's called a mask. And I guess you're a deputy in the global, United Nations police force or whatever.
The new Stasi.
New Stasi. So pretty cool, but it's so cool, Jeff. It's so hip, and you can have all these different designs on the mask, and make it like a fashion statement.
It's a little billboard. Isn't that cute?
Whatever. Wow. Everything has to become an industry, though. That's America. No, that is America. everything. Somebody's going to make a buck off of that deal.
That's true entrepreneurial capitalism.
Yeah, exactly. And nothing wrong with that. So, but it's just. So we'll see what happens. Send Fauci back to Italy on a banana boat and revoke citizenship. I mean, it's not that hard, but it's just, of course, Biden's in there now, and so, they're just going to keep pushing this agenda, obviously, until...
He thinks he's in there, we'll see.
Yeah, he thinks he's in there anyway, and, you never know. You never know, exactly. But, yeah, Dominion, Diebold, Smartmatic, let's see, what do they all have in common? Oh, Lord Mark Malloch Brown on the board of directors of the Privy Council, the Queen's Privy Council. That's the closest inner circle of the Crown. And also a House of Lords member. And those guys aren't even elected. The House of Lords they're just appointed because of their bloodline. How sick is that? Talk about savages. What a savage system. What a medieval, wow. Yeah, you just get appointed to this upper house because of your bloodline. It's crazy. Insane. It's not obviously it's not democratic.
Well, it's evil.
It's evil. And then they want you to be an Anglophile. Every day of the week. And, nothing against the British people, obviously, but that's just a messed up system. And, so this Lord Mark Malloch Brown is the key. And it looks to me like since he also is with them, this has been going on probably since, whenever Diebold voting machines came around, the Crown pretty much took control of our voting system. Because most of this is electronic. Okay, there's trucks coming in at 4 in the morning, there's this, there's that. But the most of it is so easy to... with that thing they were talking about, that what was the other one, the hammer, and they were saying they could change the data en route, like as it was passing through the internet.
Hammer and scorecard.
Hammer and scorecard, that's it. They could literally, in transit, change it. And I have no doubt that they have that capability. Real time, while it's going, so that nobody on the other end could even, So it's pretty sophisticated, but it's been going on a while, obviously, since Diebold, whenever that was, 90s even, maybe? So, sure.
Yeah, I think Diebold was in the 90s. You're right.
I think so, late 90s, maybe. Yeah, right about 2000, maybe that was the Bush election, even, when that fiasco went down. And I voted for Ralph Nader. But, yeah. So, we stole the election, by the way, the Bush.
By the way.
Yeah.
Incidentally,
classes.
The thing is, Dean, the whole world knows it, and it's so obscene in its obviousness. How in the world will this country really recover any integrity on the international stage of criminality as it is? But not that we're just toast here. Sidney Powell says. And she said all of her data isn't in by any means, but she said Biden probably has at least 10 million fraud votes on his side, along with several million more votes from dead people. This is unbelievable.
What's the deal with that chick? Did they kind of drop her over the side to Trump administration? That Sidney Powell?
No,
They didn't.
It didn't.
Okay.
It looked.
Okay.
It was handled clumsily. See,
Okay.
Jenna Ellis and Rudy and the others are being paid by the RNC.
Right.
Sydney has been paid by no one. She's working on her own dime, and they had her in as part of the crew. And then what they did was they wanted to, because speaks such enormously impactful truths, they were getting a little worried. So they had to separate, put a little distance in there, and that's understandable. Mm-hmm. She got it, no problem. So she's handling the part of it right now with Dominion and Smartmatic and Georgia, and the Rudy and Jenna Ellis people are handling another aspect of the litigation process. So they just gave each one of them their own territory, basically. That's all they did.
Yeah, Dominion, I mean, well, you think about the name Dominion, it kind of says it all. And it's a Crown Agent Corporation officially, and it's registered in Toronto, which is, another colony of the Commonwealth.
Dominion, see, that's a royal word. It's a term the royals use. Yeah.
Dominion over, us, I see. I mean, it's all right there, man. They're just telling you exactly what they're doing. And then Smartmatic, right? It's almost like mocking intelligence, like, anything matic. I mean, it's kind of, cheesy. So Smartmatic, I see. And then, so it's just, and Diebold, man. Let's see.
Well, look at the root word. Die boldly.
Die bold. Yeah, I see though. Okay, so etymology here, but it's it's just that's the thing. And again, okay, so if we don't get rid of the Crown, let's see. Oh, I see them their regular elections. Oh, I see they give us COVID. Oh, I see. But I see they'll bring out the second weaponized thing you're talking about in your opening, and this is why it's so important to expose the Crown and get rid of the Crown, because that's the control mechanism and of everything, and all bad things come from there. And they got a whole storage facility full of nasty viruses, I'm sure. But a good leader can just, we can end it. Somebody can end it, but it's hoping it'd be Trump, but he didn't, and maybe it still will be. Maybe he'll come out.
I was reading about freeze-dried.
London, like I've been telling him. Evacuate first.
That's interesting. I was reading about freeze-dried designer viruses in the 80s. Mm-hmm. They've been at this for a long time. Now, this brings us to the Deagle.com projection that they posted in 2017, that by 2025, which is 4 years from now, populations and GDP and military capabilities would be changing in a lot of key countries, and those key countries all turned out to be Western, white, Christian, European countries before they were overrun and changed to a degree with their demographics. But they're going to allegedly project, in fact they already have projected, that the UK in just 4 years will drop from 78 million total people down to 14 million total people. And the U.S. will drop from 330, thereabouts, down to 99. That's their projection. And if you look at the other big boys on the block, China, Brazil, India, Russia, they're all about the same. They don't have these big drops. So it looks like the war is really being focused on Western white Christian culture. That's what it looks like.
That. Yeah, it does look like that. And I mean, it's again, it's just you got Crown agents, you got Crown, you got Lee family in China, very important family, Red Dragon Society. It's a shift, they're trying to shift things, man. Production centers, military defense forces, always for the Crown, always for the global oligarchy, but you have to, it's a chessboard, we're a chessboard, and it just looks to me like right now the United States has worn out its usefulness somewhat to the Crown. I think we're just we got too smart, Jeff, too many people in the know over here about what's really going on, and
they had to dumb us down. That's when they turned.
all of a sudden we got wised up, and then they tried to dumb us down again, and it's just an epic, battle, of course, all along. But
look at the tools. Look at the tools. Locking people, house arrest, home imprisonment, which is what I call it, lockdowns, right? You have to wear a mask, so you lose your identity. You literally have no identity anymore. People can't communicate without seeing the faces of the people they're talking to. It's all fear, fear, and it's tragically it's effective. Hold on a minute. Yes. Thank you. It's terrorism. Thank you. Perfect. We'll be right back with Dean in just a minute. Okay, welcome back. Talking to Dean Henderson, as we get to do once or more a month. And again, South Dakota continues to hold the torch, I think, in the darkness for a lot of people, what's going on in your state. This whole virus thing, for some reason, you got lucky. Your governor just didn't fall for it. She did her own research, apparently. I don't know her. But she figured out that there was something wrong with this picture. And there really was something wrong with this picture. But we've got to be on guard and be very careful. A new video is going up shortly in headlines. This is really, again, these are out there on the internet. I just like to pull them together as best I can and offer them for people like all of you, wherever you are around the world, to look, learn, and listen. This has to do with exposing the history of the Smartmatic vote fraud software. If you remember, Hugo Chavez in Venezuela used this software and never lost an election. The election he finally lost was cancer, which a lot of people felt he was given by the U.S. because it was completely obstinate and untreatable. Very strange. So, new video exposes the history of Smartmatic vote fraud from Venezuela's origins to the massive Biden communist U.S. election vote fraud and hoax. That'll be going up shortly. Donald Trump today said, Donald is starting to stand up, I think. I'm watching this very carefully. Trump said, Biden can only enter the White House if he can prove his ridiculous 80 million votes were not fraudulently or illegally obtained. Now, remember the executive order that Trump, I think it was 2017, maybe 2018, 2017, I think, which actually was focused on this very thing. Any kind of outside interference in our election process, whether it be by agents, provocateurs here or outside countries like, Dominion, headquartered in Spain, and with servers apparently in Germany, which were allegedly confiscated. This is in Trump's executive order, which declared a national emergency. We are still in a national emergency over that EO. And Trump, I do believe, could call that into play. And it would seem to me like he's getting ready to do that. He said, and I repeat, Biden can only enter the White House if he can prove his ridiculous 80 million votes were not fraudulently or illegally obtained. So, them's fighting words. We'll see.
Interesting. Yep. Maybe they got something. I hope they got something. I really do. Because it's time somebody put an end to this. Because this electronic voting, since the very beginning, it's, I mean, a lot of, I think anybody with like kind of like basic gut feeling, instinct on that, it's just, it's possible, very possible to rig that, You got to go back to paper ballots.
You remember the guy in Florida?
I don't care.
Remember the software guy? Dean, you remember the software guy in Florida who was the first guy to whistleblow and came forward and testified before the some Florida Senate committee? Hey, he told the whole story of how easy, and I think it was Diebold, how easy it was. This is 20 years plus. And from that point on, we knew, and now we got clearly indications that Hugo Chavez, it was put together in Venezuela. He used it, and he never lost. So we got problems here. And I want to say this one more time. I'm pushing this revelation of this greatest election fraud ever that we know about for all Americans who care about this country. I don't care what label you want to wear. If you care about this country, you'll want free and honorable elections. If you don't care about that, then you shouldn't be here. Go away.
Yeah, so I hope he takes to the hill too, and I hope we get to the bottom of this. And I hope in the end, that's, in my opinion, that's what needs to happen. But the part of the problem is these are contractors to the federal government and state governments and county governments, whatever. But it's this whole system of contractors where you really compromise on your security, and especially if these are crown agent corporations, which they are. That's what they do. I mean, they do contracts. And that's how they get in, and so yeah, it's bad enough they're, have security contract on our CIA. That's kind of weird, Serco, and then yeah. Oh, by the way, they make the voting machines too, and these contractors, and all these. It's this contract system. It's British mercantilism, where they just really don't. They just perform a task, and they don't have to obviously hire union employees or even whatever. They can just play it fast and loose on the labor stuff, and there's no oversight. And yeah, I mean, this is just another case where our national security is threatened. I mean, if
you bet it is.
People consider their elections, I mean, it's bad. It's a bad thing. So yeah, anybody, whether you support Trump or don't support Trump, should be really concerned about getting this fixed like ASAP. And then get on with the bigger issue of these contractors and these crown agents and this senior executive service that's lodged itself into the State Department and can't get fired, and a lot of them are crown agents. And what do you think, Comey is? What do you think Clapper is? What do you think those guys are? I mean, they're all crown agents, whether they know it or not. Just getting paid off by somebody and, influenced and told to do this and that or whatever level they're at. But, it's all not for United States interests. It's for the interests of this global oligarchy based in the city limit called Crown Corporation. And that's bad. We fought these bastards. 1776 won that independence.
Lobster
same
backs.
Things. And yeah, and a lot of people died, and so it's just serious business. And I think people really need to check into this Crown Corporation, and it all starts making sense when you put it all together. That it actually gets pretty simple. Like, oh, Jesus, that was simple. Why did I go through all that? Well, because your whole life you're being lied to. You're told it's very complex, and especially if you go to college and. It's not. It's really not. It's not complex at all. The same people that run this earth for 8,000 years still run it, and same bloodlines, and just different tactics, different ways to kill us, different ways to abuse us, to vampire our energy, to herd us around, and to their purposes. And until people are willing to stand up to kind of the whole enchilada, it's just gonna, like I said, they're just gonna march out something else next week. Bio attack. False flag. Of course, Iran's leading nuclear scientist assassinated today by Israel, no doubt. And that's interesting because Biden's coming in, and, Trump was all, dissing Iran, which was a mistake.
Mm-hmm. So, speaking of Iran, there's more to talk about there in a minute. Go ahead, Dean. Sorry.
No, it's fine. I was just saying, so that was Israel. And yeah, it's interesting because Biden's coming in, and he's going to probably go back to the, JCPOA agreement. And so Israel is just picking off this guy ahead of that. I mean, how cynical and sinister and evil is that? It's just, I don't know. These people are just beyond the pale. This is really an entity, Zionist entity.
How many?
All the whole COVID thing. They're invading Syria. They're pushing into the Lebanon. They're grabbing more land in the Golan Heights. They don't care about COVID. They're just at war. That crash in the Sinai, that helicopter, that had something to do with some Israeli operation. I'm sure the U.S. helicopter went down, and some of our soldiers died.
It wasn't a random
The
crash.
Sinai a couple weeks ago.
Did you hear what happened today? Apparently the top scientist in Iran's nuclear development program was assassinated. Another one by Israeli special ops.
Yeah.
They keep going in there and killing these people. Yeah, Soleimani.
Right.
But this guy was killed today.
Yeah, no, that's what I was referring to. Yeah, today. But yeah, then you have to remember also Soleimani, and at a critical time when we're trying to get out of Iraq, and plus, we're moving out of our troops out of Iraq, so the Crown, aka Israel, doesn't like that, so they're also sending us a message, and just Trump's trying to at least get these troops out of Iraq and Afghanistan. To his credit, not that Uncle Joe's probably not just going to march him right back in with his neoliberal, neoconservative.
Oh, it's Obama Biden 3.0 is what it is. Come on, they're all neocons. Same greaseballs feeding the military-industrial complex.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, basically. So but anyway, no, it's just it's a mad world, and obviously the whole point. Yeah, I mean it's big news. This online shopping record. I mean this is the whole point. This is the whole point of the COVID agenda. And
sure.
Is bringing in this new fourth industrial revolution, this 5G driven, vaccine driven, nano driven thing, and complete surveillance society, internal surveillance society of all of our bodies, and this is what they're shooting for. So that's this is all just a way to sort of push for the obedience, and see how many people just obey blindly and just believe it and go along with it. And it's a beta test. This is how they do things. And I mean, sure, people are getting sick, but people always get sick. It's the whole thing, and it's a bad flu season. It's just too many flu shots, too many years of flu shots. I really think there's a lot to do with this.
Well, this is not a flu virus, as you know. It's a cold virus, but it doesn't matter. The results are the same. It's a bad virus, and it was probably put together in a lab or several labs and released. It's been weaponized. We know that. It's a bioweapon. All right, that's not. But look, there's no way we're going to stop this virus from running the length and breadth of the planet. Let it go. Look at the guy at the top of the homepage. Listen to him again. He's right. Let it go. These lockdowns have only been used geopolitically to destroy not only the economy, but our sense of self as a mass of living, breathing, sentient people. That's what it's been done. That's what's been done to us. We've been taken apart. It's bad.
Yeah, and that was the plan, and that's still the plan, and everything. So, people just gotta, just get out of your fear, man, and turn off the media a lot, and get outside and just turn off your fear, man, because it's like big projectors being pulled down in front of you, and you're being told there's this big crisis, and it doesn't exist. It's just like another year, see? And you should be just doing whatever, like you did last year. But none
of this had to happen. None of it.
None of it had to happen. No, I mean, and that in some sense, South Dakota, we got some more deaths now. And, they're saying, they're the worst in the world, deaths per capita. And, well, maybe it was for 4 or 5 days. But, again, you let it run. And you just, people are going to die, man. People are going to die every year of a bad
45,000 a year die on the highways, huh? That's one. How many? The second leading cause of death is medical malpractice in hospitals and doctor's office and overprescribing pharmaceuticals. Yeah, all right?
Exactly.
People die. It happens. We'll get through it. It happened. They got through it in Sweden just fine. They're doing fine. No masks, no distancing.
Yeah, exactly. And they had more deaths than the neighboring countries, but they got through it. And that's the whole thing. It's just like, it just kills me because, it's the flavor of the week. And last week it was, bash South Dakota because we're not,
I can tell you why they had more deaths than some of the other countries. They have an enormous socialized senior citizen healthcare network. These huge hospitals full of people, 60, 70, 80, 90. And when a bad cold virus roars through there, a lot of these people are already halfway gone. It's going to kick them out. They're going to die.
Exactly.
But you can't say they died only with coronavirus. We know here that only 6% of the people who have died just had coronavirus. They all had something else.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. And so it's a numbers, it's like a trick.
Numbers
game.
Black magic trick. The statistics.
Black magic numbers trick.
Don't let them fool you. Don't let them fool you.
You can, Mark Twain, lies, damn lies, and statistics, And
perfect. Perfect.
Right? And so, that's, but people don't have any common sense anymore like they did back in those days. I'm sure Twain wouldn't even be popular today. People wouldn't get it. They wouldn't get it. It'd be
common sense.
I want to go watch TikTok. Whatever. Some fat guy dancing, seeing Fleetwood Mac or something crazy. Wow. Anyway, before we get too cynical here, but
no, too realistic, not cynical.
Too realistic for some folks, but I don't know. It's just, it's got to end. The drama has to end. The people just, it doesn't have to. No, it doesn't have to. It could just keep going on and more and more drama.
It can go on, Dean. It can go on as long as they tell the mainstream media to act like the little marionette, mindless morons they are, just reading their little teleprompter bullshit and spewing it out all over the screens everywhere, and the poor sheep who just don't get it.
And I wonder how many just directly work for the CIA. I mean, a lot of them, a lot more than you think. That was revealed in the church committee hearings. It was 1976. You think that's gotten any better? And it was astounding.
Well, Mockingbird, they boasted they had somebody in every major newspaper in America could put any story they wanted in the paper within an hour. That was in the 60s. You don't think they can do that now? That's like back when cars, you could actually work on them and stuff. So, you don't think they are doing that now. So, like Anderson Cooper, he's a Vanderbilt, He's from the Vanderbilt family, dude. For example. And so all the elitists and the elitists, the hot shit ones get government jobs, and the kind of dumber ones become the media, honestly. The dumber ones. Because, all you have to do exactly is read from a teleprompter. These people are not journalists. They're not even smart. I mean, they're dumb. And that's why they're running CNN shows, because it's just read whatever the CIA puts on the screen for you to read, and that's what you got to do. And then same with all of them. So they're not, we haven't had real journalism in this country in the mainstream since at least Walter Cronkite, right? Well, it died with Dan Rather and the murder of John Kennedy.
Yeah, Dan Rather had some days maybe. Mm-hmm. Yep, there you go. But it's just gotten steadily worse and more kitschy. And I mean, they don't even send people out in the field anymore. It's just cheap. That's why
they'll be green screening everything pretty soon. They got
cheap. The animated, they'll have like cartoons, they'll show you cartoons or whatever in the background. I mean, and then all they got is a tower, and no overhead, and just raking in the dough. And well, let's see, Westinghouse owns CBS, Crown Agent Westinghouse owns CBS, Crown Agent General Electric owns NBC. That's interesting. But never mind.
Dean, did you see the story at the top of headlines at Rense? Did you see that? I hope all of you did. It's sitting off by itself. It's the top story, and it says, "Watch. The communist control of network news has never been more clear." Watch. And what it is, it's a compilation of network affiliate stations all over the country, and the anchor people are saying the same exact verbiage, and they overlaid it one on the. They put it on top, one over the other. Here, let me play a little of this. You got to hear this, friends. You'll love it. You won't believe it.
Hi, I'm Fox San Antonio's Jessica Headley.
And I'm Ryan Wolf.
Our greatest responsibility is to serve our Treasure Valley communities, the El Paso, Las Cruces communities, Eastern Iowa communities,
Mid-Michigan communities.
We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces.
But
we are concerned about one-sided news stories plaguing our country.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
The sharing of biased and false
news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish these stories simply aren't true without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
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 This is extremely dangerous to our
Station
democracy.
after station.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our
All over the
democracy.
country.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy. This is extremely dangerous to our democracy. This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
These people are just twits. Script reading twits. And they're all over the country, and they're saying the same CIA script, every one of them. So, dear friends, if you honestly think you're being informed when you stare at the television, God bless you and good luck.
Edward R. Murrow. Yeah, and that's about it. And so that's what we're up against, obviously. In terms of people becoming aware, it's just that simple. It's the liars. And it's hard because, like this John Hopkins story, it's a huge story, right? And I first heard of it tonight.
I got it.
From you.
That's right from the Johns Hopkins newsletter.
Every major news channel, there should be like parades in the streets right now, and people should be celebrating and just partying on. Open their
They
thing
should
up
be
and
out
throw their mouth
partying.
in the
You
burner
got
and
it.
just, but they won't even run the story. They won't even run it.
No.
Even though it's Johns Hopkins. Wow. That's a huge story, though. So, the truth's on our side, obviously. It's just that, the liars. It's just the liars are in the way always and scaring people because they have an agenda.
Well, this woman that did the work, Genevieve Briand, Assistant Program Director of the Applied Economics Master's Degree Program at Johns Hopkins, critically analyzed all of the data, and she found out that there's no detectable difference, no meaningful difference in the number of dead between this year and last year, before and after the COVID horror. Come on. The day here, paragraph. These data analyses suggest that in contrast to most people's assumptions, the number of deaths by COVID-19 is not alarming. In fact, it has relatively no effect on deaths in the United States. It's right there.
No effect on deaths in the United States. Boom. So there you have it. So, we should all be partying. I mean,
Well, the Wicked Witch is dead, huh? Let's bury her.
Oh my God! But it's the mind virus. That's how powerful this media and this mind virus, this Fatico is. That it can just trumps, overwhelms facts so easily because of it's so concentrated and so orchestrated.
Right.
As a recent clip just illustrated, it's all orchestrated, very much so, and it's just
and what are they doing? What are they doing? They're rolling out, a dozen more coronavirus vaccines. Some so weird and experimental they have to be kept at minus 94 Fahrenheit because of why? Because of the nanotechnology delivery systems in them. I've never heard of this before. Many of them don't use that. None of them are tested properly. None of them are proven safe. Their doctors now warning people that the CDC, they're asking the CDC to warn people about the side effects. They've got dead people already from the damn tests. So, look, this is no one with a 2 brain cells should take this. No one. I'm not necessarily trying to change anybody's mind, but it's good material to look at and ponder. Back soon. Take care.